Welcome to the Resource of the Future podcast series, a podcast series by the Canadian Chamber of Commerce that explores the present and the future of Canada's resource sector. Our focus spans the impact of the Fourth Industrial Revolution on the agricultural sector, the evolving relationships of Indigenous communities to the resource sector, to technologies and new business practices that will be vital to our leadership towards a low-carbon economy. Our purpose is to foster a better understanding of how our resource sector binds Canadian communities together, the challenges we face, and the opportunities before us as a nation of builders. We're joined today by Jill Rutherford from the Comms Department at ConocoPhillips, as well as Patrick Stanley, ConocoPhillips Canada's Data Analytics Manager. In this episode, Jill interviews Patrick about the way that data analytics is changing ConocoPhillips operations and giving it a competitive edge. Everything from optimizing workforce scheduling, to ensuring that every worker has information on hand without searching, to even finding ways to lower GHG emissions.
Hello, my name is Jill Rutherford, and I'm with the Communications Department at ConocoPhillips Canada. The topic of today's podcast is how ConocoPhillips has embraced innovation, in this case data analytics, to improve business outcomes and increase global competitiveness. Here to help tell this story is Patrick Stanley, ConocoPhillips Canada's Data Analytics Manager. Thanks for being here, Patrick.
Absolutely.
So let's begin by setting the stage for our listeners. Tell me, what is data analytics and why is it important to Canadian business?
So data analytics is a catch-all term for a number of skills and capabilities, starting with the application of data science and machine learning and artificial intelligence on the high end to solving business problems.
Great. And so why is it important to our business?
It's important because our business is not short on challenges. And so we're looking at ways of enhancing our ability to solve problems in just about every function, whether it be finance, human resources, health and safety, production, operations, development.
So how is it changing the way we do business?
It's changing the way our people work because these capabilities we're leveraging the inherent growing capacity for data processing and the ever reducing cost of data. So if you compare our current state to, say, 15 or 20 years ago, we're able to produce and consume so much more data from our assets than we were in the past. And the technologies, cost, and ability to process that have changed as dramatically. And so our people used to spend so much of their time gathering data, and now that work can be done for them by our data analytics platform or data analytics solutions that are built into their base business tools. So it's not a special new interface for them to deal with. It's just like coming to work any other day, only with some new tools to help you get things done a little faster.
And that really leads into my next question was, how is data analytics changing the way we do business? Or how is it changing the way someone's job, when they come into work every day, how is that affecting their daily job? What are they doing less of? What are they now doing more of?
Yeah, so the aim is that they have to do almost no searching for data, right? Unless you're talking about looking outside for new information. The way our strategy is designed is to build a platform, or bottom-up platform, that all of our staff can access their critical data from. And by their data from any of our business units, so around the world, giving them access to that information. Whereas, if I'm a drilling engineer in the Montney play, I might be looking to compare my well results to a Lower 48 Eagleford well or a Bakken well. And a couple of years ago, I couldn't do that unless I knew the people that worked my job in those businesses. Now I can just go online to the data warehouse and gather that information and start my analysis.
It really is it's cliche, but it's at your fingertips.
It is. Yeah. I'm doing my best not to use
it. I know. I couldn't help it.
We can play buzzword bingo with analytics.
Yes. So can you give me an example of how we're using data analytics to improve business outcomes? And in Canada, how are we using it to increase our global competitiveness?
So a good example would be our steam allocation or our production optimizer for our Surmont asset. So at Surmont, we have a limited resource in steam, right? And we burn fuel gas to produce that steam. And so every barrel of oil that we can lift with the most minimal amount of steam is in our best interest. Also reduces our greenhouse gas intensity. And so we've partnered up some data scientists with the production team at Surmont. They've developed a model to look at all of the wells around the field at once and look at all of their historical data as well and compute what is the optimal placement of our steam to lift the most barrels in the future with the current production.
Okay.
So that's changing, like I said, our GHG intensity. That is changing the amount of labor that that's necessary to optimize, right? Where with a couple of hundred wells, you could see it takes 10 people to gather that information and figure out what's optimal for the set of wells that they look at. Whereas today, those people can focus on other aspects of the business and we can have the solution optimizing the placement.
What would you say is, or which data analytics initiative has been most important or most impactful for our company to date?
That's a good question. I think the one that you hear the most about, it's the most visible, is the drilling and completions improvements in our unconventional plays. So everything from Eagle Ford, Bakken, Permian, Montney here in Canada, we're using a common approach, a singular approach for collecting the data and for optimizing how we view that data. So all of our completions and drilling engineers can see the same information around the world. That has led to dramatic improvements in the number of wells drilled per rig. It's on the order of 80% per rig, so almost double the number of wells per rig from looking back to 2015. We've also been able, with that data coming in near real time, we've been able to optimize as we drill, and we've been able to optimize our completions very quickly as well. So we've gone through our vintages of completion design in shorter than a year in the lower 48 in Canada with that data. Right? If going back 5 or 10 years, without that amount of data and without those analytical tools, we wouldn't have been able to optimize so quickly.
It sounds like a pretty impressive return on investment.
It is, because it's really a people investment.
Yeah.
The technology investment isn't really significant. It's more a people investment.
Interesting. How do you see data analytics influencing our future workforce needs?
So data analytics is as we said, we're giving people the tools to make themselves more efficient and in some cases their outcomes more valuable. So the demand, you could see how people will be demanding more data, right? So their roles will be more data centric, even for functions that historically wouldn't have thought of themselves in that way, right? We have a number of folks in our health and safety group that have gotten very much involved in applying analytics to health and safety data, and in a company that is so focused on health and safety and has a record that I think reflects that, the actions that we take with that data are changing, right? So because of the insight that we get out of it with analytics, so we're currently applying text analytics to find trends in the text that we gather from the workforce through whether it be care cards or incidents reporting, or just daily reporting, right? It could be positive reporting. It doesn't necessarily need to be negative. But looking at the trends in that textual data and then correlating that to events in the workplace or in the asset, so we can take action or support in new and different ways.
So it's not just about making more money. It's about that being more efficient, keeping people safer.
Absolutely.
Making less impact on the environment and all of those things.
I think for a company like ConocoPhillips to go out externally and tout the great things we're doing or how great analytics is and how it's helping. I think it's all of those things, right? It's not just more production.
So what do you see, what do you think the future of data analytics is at our company, and what steps are we taking?
So we're investing in an organic growth approach. And so the future of analytics is it will be part of everyone's job.
Okay.
Right? It's not a specialist skill that only data scientists will be practicing. Right? So today there's a lot of there's a large peer community. We have the data analytics team facilitates a peer community. Bring your own problem, and we'll pair you up with some experts in that particular area, arm you with those tools, and then send you off to solve your own problems. And so I think that's really grown legs in the last year here in Canada. We're doing the same in Alaska now, and I think the lower 48 will follow. It's an approach that I think shows or really makes it clear to the organization that this isn't something to reduce your roles. It's not something to eliminate what you do today or roboticize it. This is a way for you to do new work, different work, and
make the most out of your workday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So one last question for you. For organizations that are looking to do more with data analytics, what advice do you have for them?
The advice I would give is to start small. Right? It's like in the biggest failures. There's a number of books being published now on the failures of analytics. Right? I think in some cases, the hype is significant, and so industry has got themselves a bit hyped up and overpromised without actually thinking through how to get there. And so by starting small, you can get those quick wins and build.
Have it snowball.
Yeah, I mean it's something new. The space is massive, right? So you could apply analytics to basically anything, and we do in most cases. But you could pick the most challenging problem in the company or opportunity and try and solve it. Chances are you could probably build a model to solve just about any big challenge. But that being said, without the right expertise, without the right team leading it, you can get crossed up pretty quickly, and then you disenfranchise the people that had, maybe crossed that chasm to, I'll be a believer, I'll come along with you.
I'll give this a try.
I'll give it a try, and then you lose them because you've tried too big, too fast.
Yeah, at an early date. Okay. Okay, well, you've given us a lot to think about. So thanks very much for your time today, and thank you for being here to share our data analytics story.
Absolutely, thanks.
I want to thank everybody for tuning into the conversation today. And I hope you want to continue to stay engaged with us as we continue to explore the critical role Canada's resource sector plays in supporting Indigenous communities and business development, creating new technologies that are going to guide our path forward to a lower carbon economy, as well as developing practices of sustainability and innovation. And finally, just understanding the interconnected relationship and interdependencies that make the resource sector in Canada a key driver in social and economic development in small communities and large communities across Canada.
And please don't forget to check out our website for updates and new podcast episodes at rotf.ca.
If you want to continue to add support to this conversation, please feel free to share this episode on social media and maybe consider using some of these hashtags. Hashtag ROTF, hashtag Resource Champions, hashtag Canada's Natural Advantage. But we also look forward to seeing whatever you come up with as well. Thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to having you in the conversation in the future.